Joining me now is Stuart Rhodes. He's the founder of Oath Keepers. He's a former firearms instructor, as well as a former member of Representative Ron Paul's Washington, D.C. staff. He's also been an outspoken critic of President Bush and the Obama administration's violations of the Constitution. He joins us today to talk about a new recording that has come to light by True TV about John McCain's entire career, essentially proving it was built on lies and deceptions. Stuart Rhodes, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Also want to point out that I served as a paratrooper in the Army, so this is kind of relevant given the topic.
Now, you guys put out an email. I'm on your email list, so I'm well abreast of all your activities. I saw this come out. I said, oh my goodness, John McCain. I've always known there's been criticisms about him, but we're going to play the clip for the folks who are watching right now in just a minute. But tell me briefly, what does this clip mean? Sort of set it up for us.
Well, for many years, there were allegations from other POWs that McCain, they nicknamed him Songbird, that he had done recordings for the North Vietnamese while he was a POW. And of course, he denied it. The only thing he ever admitted doing was under duress, signing a confession of crimes against the North Vietnamese. His Silver Star commendation reads as though he had successfully resisted attempts to coerce him and use him for propaganda. And he was, in the citation, it says that his firm resistance to his attempts was an inspiration to the other prisoners. Well, in reality, he recorded a propaganda broadcast for the North Vietnamese, which was broadcast all over North Vietnam and also in the prison, and was used to destroy the morale of the men around him. But that was all brushed under the rug, and now, of only just the other day, this recording was found, somehow misfiled in the National Archives, but it was found by the True News people who were digging for this, and lo and behold, he was Songbird, and so his entire career has been based on a pumped up, grossly misrepresented hero status for John McCain, which was just not reality.
All right, we're going to go play that clip. And folks, just bear with us because we are talking to Stuart via Skype, and there can be some sort of lag or delay sometimes. So bear with us through some of those technical issues. Now let's go to that clip real quick here, Stuart, and let the folks judge for themselves what they're about to hear. Now this is an old recording, remember, from back in the 70s.
1969.
69, excuse me, 69. So it's going to be old, it's going to be crackly, it's not going to be some beautifully crafted MP3. So here, take a listen.
To the Vietnamese people and the government of the DRVN, from John Sidney McCain, 624787, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy, born 29 August 1936, Panama, home state, Oregon. Shot down 26 October 1967, A-4 Enemy aircraft. I, as a U.S. airman, am guilty of crimes against the Vietnamese country and people. I have bombed their cities, towns, and villages and caused many injuries, even death, to the people of Vietnam. I was captured in the capital city of Hanoi while attacking it. After I was captured, I was taken to the hospital in Hanoi, where I received very good medical treatment. I was given an operation on my leg, which allowed me to walk again, and a cast on my right arm, which was badly broken in 3 places. The doctors were very good, and they knew a great deal about the practice of medicine. I remained in the hospital for some time and regained much of my health and strength. Since I arrived in the camp of detention, I have received humane and lenient treatment. I received discount treatment and food, even though I came here as an aggressor, and the people who I injured have much difficulty in their living standards. I wish to express my deep gratitude for my kind treatment, and I will never forget this.
All right, there it was, the infamous recording that was misfiled somewhere in the National Archives. First of all, that's the biggest red flag for me. Here we have a guy, he's been a senator, he's run for office. He certainly could have just been the Manchurian candidate for Obama when he ran for president. But first of all, why? Why did they misfile this thing, and why is it suddenly showing up?
This was a recording by the CIA, which monitored all of the North Vietnamese radio transmissions. And like you said, if you misfile it, you misfile something and let the person know it's been misfiled, but you still have it. That's covering it up and setting it aside, but you can also pull it right back out and use it against them, which is exactly the kind of leverage you would want to have over a politician throughout his entire career. But even if that wasn't the case, even if it was a sincere mistake somehow on the CIA's part, the main point is that, look, anyone can break under torture or pressure if he was actually tortured. We don't know if that's true. But let's say a guy was. Let's say many of the guys that were there for years did break. Fine. You can forgive them. We can understand it. Go on with your life. But then to get a silver medal citation, silver star citation, and then build a political career on a lie that you had been this stalwart, unbreakable prisoner under torture, when the truth is exactly the opposite, that you broke and did a recording for the enemy, which harmed our war effort. To build that career on that lie, just, to me is unacceptable. I don't care if a guy just goes on and lives like a normal Joe, but then to go on and take this false accolade of being a hero and then build your entire career on it. And you can't criticize him. Oh, you don't criticize John McCain as a national treasure. He's a war hero. And so he's given him deference and respect that he didn't actually deserve. He's no better than the other average prisoners. In fact, he's quite the opposite. He actually did something that a lot of them did not do. A true hero was James Stockdale, who was tortured. And in fact, he beat his own face with a stool to beat it up and swell it up. So the Lebanese could not use him for propaganda. They wanted to parade him around in this little fake, sanitized village in front of the news crews, and he beat his face so badly that they couldn't do it. They couldn't use him. So here's a guy that hurt himself and in his own life to make sure it could not be used for propaganda. And he was the true inspiration for all his men, not John McCain.
Now, how did John McCain violate the soldiers' code of conduct here?
Well, by making statements that are against the war effort and hurt our efforts and help the enemy. You do a propaganda video. It's not that he disclosed he did give up military information, but apparently the military information he gave wasn't that important. But the big thing is he made that propaganda audio. When you do that, you're aiding the enemy. That's what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to make any statements or confessions that will aid the enemy. So, for example, it says here, I will make no oral or written statement disloyal to my country and allies or harmful to their cause. So by getting on there and saying I'm a war criminal and I've harmed the Vietnamese and I'm the aggressor, that's just feeding right into their propaganda of the United States as the aggressor, and it hurt the war effort. So plain and simple, a violation of the code of conduct.
So what are the ramifications for this? I mean, the guy's at the end of his career,
None.
and all of a sudden, this comes out. It's pretty convenient, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he's 80 years old now, right? What are the ramifications? None. Would have been nice to know. It would have been, this is all basically false advertising in his entire life. Would have been nice to know that he had been actually the songbird. Back in 2008, during the campaign, there were some veterans that came out and said, hey, look, here's what he did. He rolled over and he was a propaganda tool for the enemy. We consider him a traitor. And, of course, all of his defenders came in and said, these people are crazy. There's no truth to this. There's not a shred of evidence that he aided the enemy, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out he did. So all of that time, he's gotten away with a fabrication. So, but no, nothing's going to happen. No one apparently cares. The media is not covering this. The mainstream media is not covering this at all.
All right, Stuart, thanks for joining us to weigh in on this just a really shocking and heartbreaking revelation, I think, for a lot of people, because there are a lot of people who love John McCain. They think they hold him up in such high regard. But this is
I don't know why.
This is going to shatter their paradigm.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, frankly, for me, his wartime record is not why I can't stand John McCain. It's his record in the Senate. He's sponsored some of the most atrocious anti-constitutional measures. In fact, the worst ones passed in the Congress's history. Number one being the NDA of 2012. He was the main sponsor of that, declaring that he can use extraordinary rendition that he can use military detention and military trial on U.S. citizens. Pretty much rubber stamping the entire doctrine of enemy combatant status. Obama has adopted and gone one better and begun to actually kill American citizens overseas. But John McCain wanted to codify that, and he did. He attached it to the National Defense Authorization Act, which no one wants to vote against because you're perceived as voting against the military. And because of his status as a war hero, everyone, bowed down to John McCain's opinion on this, and he got this crap passed over all of our heads now. It's a ticking time bomb. So eventually it'll be used here domestically against us.
Well,
and you can thank John McCain.
Let's not forget that infamous photograph of him in Syria arming all of the moderate terrorists there, and of course we know what happened there. The defection, the birth of ISIS, and the rest is history. So,
right. And let's not forget the wide open borders. I mean, he's known as McAmnesty for good reason. John McAmnesty. Yeah. So he's an absolute enemy of the Constitution and the Republic in multiple ways, and he's a friggin' traitor on that alone. But hey, if it takes him being exposed as being a fraud hero to get some folks to wake up, well, fine. But it's too late now. Damage has been done.
Let's explore this for a little bit deeper for a second, because this is a Central Intelligence Agency recording that was misfiled. Is it possible then that they just held this over his head for all these years and said, look, you better go ahead. We'll make you the best senator in the world, but you got to go ahead and run through the New World Order agenda, or else we're going to burn you. We're going to release this recording and you're going to be done. Do you think that's a possibility?
Oh, yeah, I think it's highly likely. I mean, look what happened there. His father was an admiral. In fact, at the time, his father was the commander-in-chief of the entire Pacific Fleet. So that's part of the whitewash and the cover-up was his own father pulling the strings on the Joint Chiefs of Staff and in the DOD to not actually investigate the allegations against him by fellow prisoners. Total whitewash. A fake poser Silver Star commendation, and then he's ushered into his political career. But absolutely, you hold it over his head. Just like if you had caught him having sex with a little boy or something, right? You take pictures of him and you hold those and let them know it. Here they are, but we're going to hold on to these. Don't worry, they'll be taken care of. No one's going to see them as long as you do what's right, And look, guys, ever since Kennedy was assassinated in particular, that was a friggin' coup. He was murdered by the CIA, and since then, the shadow government, CIA, NSA, etc., all of that has been in charge. And this is just another indicator. I think you're right.
All right, that was Oath Keepers Stuart Rhodes. Hit the link in the description to get on the Oath Keepers email list and to find out more. As always, I welcome your comments on this topic below, because guess what? You're not going to see this on the mainstream media, corporate control press. So hit that share button and push this out to your social media or your email list. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.